Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Power of Knowing Forum's podcast LinkedIn Live session 129. Today, we are discussing on a topic of cyber stronghold, how to defend your crown jewels with best in class practices. To discuss on this topic, we have the honor of having Mr. Dr. Ram Kumar G, cybersecurity leader in the automotive industry. Without further ado, let's bring Dr. Ram Kumar to the podcast session. Sir, good evening. Welcome to
Good
our
evening.
podcast, sir.
Thank you for having me here, sir. Appreciate it. Looking forward to this session today.
Thank you, sir. Welcome, sir. Let's talk about cyber security in general. So, cyber security has become a de facto with the cloud being much more enabled here, and everybody is looking at being on cloud and bringing their infrastructure. And cyber security is becoming more relevant to the digital assets that we are having today. How did you
Right.
first get involved into the cybersecurity, and what is the pivotal moments in your career shape to understand this industry and this field, sir?
Sure. I started my cybersecurity career way back in 2004. That time it
Hmm.
was called data security or information security. The term
Okay.
cybersecurity was not even thought about, right? So that was
Hmm.
soon after my PG in computer applications. I got my first break. I got my first job with a US based ISP at
Hmm.
Hyderabad, and I got assigned to the cybersecurity department. So I didn't seek cybersecurity, rather, destiny sought me and brought me into this domain. And since then, it's been a journey of learning, delivering, and contributing to enhance the security of whatever organization I work for. Right. So that was how I got my footing in the cybersecurity field. And coming to your second question, as I said, it's been a lifelong journey for me, learning journey for me. So one decision that I took very early in my career, I joined a non-IT company called G4S. It was into physical guarding, and they wanted to set up cybersecurity division. And I came on board, and it was a managerial level appointment, and reporting directly to the managing director. And that stint gave me a ringside view of the management decision making, and how to evaluate business prospects, customer service, and related stuff. And that gave me peek into the cybersecurity consulting world. So the learning was pretty steep, and I capitalized on the advantages of working in a fairly senior level role pretty early in my career. So that was one pivotal moment for me to appreciate the world of cybersecurity consulting and the challenges, the benefits, the opportunities, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Great, sir. So starting with a non-IT organization itself is a good thought, I think, good
Yeah.
move. Because see,
Yeah.
what we were talking in one of the headhunting sessions recently, in that people look at, I am taking your example of a non-IT thing. I just wanted to put this to the audience because many people choose the brand, they choose the
Correct.
big organizations to start with. And we had Dr. Bharat Beliappa, who was a headhunter. He was telling about why people should look at an organization to start where it is small and
Yep.
make things better. So I am
Right.
relating that to your point where we
Yeah.
find that you started there. It gives us a lot of opportunity. I also started with a small training institute to start with, and I was a system admin there. So it gave us a
Yeah.
lot of leverage, is what I think, taking your point
Exactly.
into view, sir. And we've
Yeah.
learned various systems.
Correct. Exactly.
Systems
Exactly.
are not inline or having the straightforward method where you'll have to figure out, you'll have to implement and then test it for yourself. So That's a
Yeah.
different like experience I would recall, and I think it's the same with you with the startup
Yeah, yeah.
organization.
If I may add a point, the earlier two organizations I was talking about, the US based ISP, then I
Mm.
moved out to Atos, which was a French company, a
Mm.
completely sector. Whereas this is a non IT sector, and almost all my friends at that age group, I was hardly 26 when I moved to this company. They all
Mm.
dissuaded me. Oh, don't join non-IT. You won't have fun. The company,
Mm.
you will not have the perks of working in IT company. You will not work in a tech park. All the
Yeah.
the external small things that they were focused. You will not have a
Mm.
work culture, all that. But for me, and I reached out to one of my dad's friends, and he was a entrepreneur, and he was an
Mm.
ex Big Four audit firm employee. So he said, "See,
Mm.
Ram, at your age, somebody is having confidence in you and investing in you and giving you an opportunity to grow a business and, as a consulting head. And there's nothing as exciting as that because you can
Yeah.
anyway join in any technical role. Because I had an offer from a large financial services firm, US based firm. So he
Mm.
said, anytime you can go and join any of these companies, IT sector companies, but somebody is spending money on you and betting on you and wants you to run this as a subsidiary business unit of a large company. Definitely, you
Mm.
should take up this offer. The learning will be very good. And just as
Yeah.
he said, it turned out to be true. So that was one inflection point in my career.
Great, sir. Those days, I think we had limited opportunities, but we
Yeah.
grabbed the opportunities that were available and
Yeah,
we
the
jumped
risk
in.
risk taking is very important. Many of
Yes.
us are very risk averse. We don't want to go out of our comfort zone. But when you're young, you should definitely look at different options and take a unusual
Yes.
path, and that could get you somewhere, which you would never imagine to happen.
Yeah. Sir, coming to our point, what are the most significant cybersecurity threats the organizations face today? And have these threats been evolved over the past years, or all of them that we are facing are new ones?
See, the earlier threats, like the typical social engineering or cloud risk, now it's been amplified due to the emergence of AI, Gen AI.
Hmm.
So we have AI triggered attacks. AI is
Hmm.
used as a tool, is used as a target, and also used as a medium to launch cyber attacks. So
Hmm.
definitely the AI-powered phishing attacks, they can convincingly draft phishing messages. It's very hard to detect that whether it is a
Hmm.
phishing or a genuine mail, right? That is one worrying concern. And of course, the ransomware has morphed into double extortion ransomware, and dark web has emerged as a big den for all cyber criminals, where they trade in, information, right? And they also train wannabe people who want to get into hacking cyber criminal activities, right? And of course, supply chain attacks have increased a lot because the entire ecosystem has to be secure. If there is one loophole in your supply chain ecosystem, that could impact your organization. So that also is a worrying trend. And as you know, there are rise of polymorphic malware, which can metamorphose or change itself. It's very hard to detect with technology tools. Then we have this deep fakes. In the last few years, deep fakes have emerged in a big way, right? And finally, the sponsored attacks, the nation state sponsored attacks, right? These actors are very, very powerful because they have access to endless resources and endless skill sets. And primarily they are the APT gangs, advanced persistent threat gangs. And they indulge for anything from ransomware attacks to data exfiltration to cyber espionage, and it takes months for companies even to detect that such kind of
Hmm.
activity is going on. So all these attacks are a worrying trend, and these AI also has added to the pain point now.
I think AI. I was talking to again to a cybersecurity expert in the industry. So what I understand is that both have been enhanced. Now, if you look at the threats, also have got enhanced. The
Yes,
way the threats are getting treated also are getting enhanced, and the hackers have got better tools to look at and
yeah,
manage how they can retrick. As you rightly said, now there are
yeah,
people who are phishing mails which come as clear as that it is sent by a bank or
yes, yes,
an
yes,
organization, which is
yeah,
also a major threat which we have to understand and go through when we face the AI way of looking at, with the
true,
text being very clearly articulated with sophisticated and neatly written language in terms of
correct.
the content, the wording, you'll get immersed, right? So I
Hmm.
think there is a both way of looking at. One way we'll have to scale up ourselves, the other way is to look at how they get scaled up to attack us. So
Yeah.
it becomes a double sworded thing for us. What do you
Yeah, it's a
think?
double-edged sword, and also AI, of course, is used for enhancing cyber security. You have a lot of tools that are there, but
Hmm.
pointers are our security workforce is equipped to use them. Are they trained? Do we know how to do risk assessment of AI systems? All that comes into the mix, right? So you have one side AI powered or AI triggered attacks. Other side you have AI powered tools, security tools.
Yes.
Today, every security vendor is saying our tool is AI powered. But are they really AI powered, or just it's a buzzword, or just it's a using a bot and passing it off as a AI powered solution? That we don't know, right? So we need to have the capability to assess them, the AI systems, and also give solutions how to protect them.
Okay. Sir, what, when you say crown jewels,
Hmm.
can you define a study where organizations effectively define critical assets, and how do they employ best practices, and what are the key takeaways when you talk about crown jewels of security and best practices?
So, we all sit in tons of data, especially legacy companies have tons of data. So, of course, we can't have a security strategy to protect everything, because everything
Yeah.
is not important. So, by crown jewels, I mean the core, sensitive or confidential data. So, primarily, you'll have to look at your data and classify them accordingly. So only whichever is considered as confidential data for the business, that needs to be considered as crown jewels, so that you can prioritize your security strategy, budgeting, resources, tooling for protecting them. So that way it will be much more optimized, cost-wise, effort-wise, and time-wise in protecting your data, right? Data and critical IT infrastructure. So that is the whole idea behind the concept of crown jewels. Okay, and
Mm.
let me illustrate with an example. This happened a few years back when I was in one of my earlier employers. That time there was a major ransomware attack happened with our competitor. So because
Mm.
of the ransomware attack, it was called Enax, Ecans, sorry. Ecans is a reverse of snake. Okay, Ecans is
Okay.
a ransomware mounted by a APT gang, and effectively they shut down the production of the car production in the car factory, and that impacted the company's revenues because they were not
Mm.
able to ship the cars out. And immediately alarm bells started ringing in my organization because it's the same industry, and the
Mm.
senior management wanted to know our readiness. Are we ready if we have a similar attack for our crown
Mm.
jewels? So obviously, being a production company, the car production is very important. So that's
Mm.
a major challenge, and quickly we had to demonstrate our capabilities, our readiness to the management in terms
Mm.
of our backups, our patching, and other security measures that we've taken, so that that we give an assurance that any kind of eventuality we'll be able to handle. And as True Blue security professionals, we were prepared to handle any eventuality by doing a security drill on the go. So we had to test our systems on the go without any major planning, and then give that assurance that we will be able to handle it. Right? It's kind of a check about our readiness, technical readiness, and process readiness.
Great insight, sir. I think what you are saying is when there is an issue or a threat that looms, industry leaders want to look at how do we prepare ourselves to look
Yes,
at that threat, and how is the organization equipped, and where can this be mitigated. That's the
correct,
take that I take. Reflecting
correct.
on that, in your career, some of the security mistakes you have encountered, sorry, and lessons that can be drawn with your experience, sir. See, mistakes, I think somewhere we give a wrong password also could be a mistake that can happen, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
what are
yeah,
the
yeah.
smallest things that could have been a pain point that created, but when we actually went and dwelled on it, it is not the
Yes,
actual issue, it
yes,
is a small issue, right?
yeah, yeah.
What kind of things that you have encountered on that, sir, if you can
Yeah,
please comment.
this is something, when I worked with a medium sized organization that was a regulated entity, and
Okay.
they had no love for any special love for cybersecurity. It was more of a compliance driven
Compliance
security
driven.
program, only for compliance. Otherwise, in terms of real commitment, there was nothing. Because
Hmm.
compliance regulations wanted a security program they were having. And of course, the security posture was not great. They didn't take,
Great.
say,
Okay.
cybersecurity seriously, right? And focusing only on getting the audits cleared by the clients and getting certified for whichever standards. That was the focus. And
Hmm.
they didn't had a proper resources also. It's kind of underfunded security program, and the human aspect was ignored to a large extent,
Hmm.
because they were
Hmm.
relying heavily on IT, on the technology part, and technology was security tooling, everything was run by IT. It's kind of a
Hmm.
dysfunctional setup, and
Okay.
no supporting processes. Everything was ad hoc, and there was no documentation proper. And of course, we had problems with the security culture among the
Hmm.
general workforce. So all of
Yeah.
this, it took time for me to fix. It took almost 6, 7 months, 6, 8 months, I think, for fixing all of this, to engage with the senior management, and that was, to a large extent, it was successful. I would say
Hmm.
about 80% I was successful, but still there were tickling issues like patching, right? So the IT was not willing to patch legacy systems. They were worried that things can go wrong. And I, being a security evangelist, I always go for keeping it up to date. So those kind of
Hmm.
tickling issues, and whichever required a lot of funding, were kept in the back burner because of lack of intent on the part of management to make good the risks. Right, the risks have to be addressed, but there were issues in that, going slow on managing the risks. So these are some of my experiences from that stint. But to a large extent, we were able to turn around. But when I initially joined, all these things were a pain point.
Sir, again, so see, as you said, you started with a small company, right? And the journey has been great so far, is what I see, or as far as we know together. I think that's been great for people in the cybersecurity field.
Yeah.
What fundamental skills and knowledges are essential to build a strong career? Okay, and also how should they approach the process of learning? Because now the learning, you have a lot of data, but what to learn is a confusion, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
most of the time you have to be current, because the cybersecurity landscape overall is changing day by day. So For me, as a fresher from the audience, if I have to get something, what skills and knowledge should I be starting with? And is there any specific to a vendor kind of a thing, or generic foundation should be good?
Yeah, so if anyone is interested into breaking into cybersecurity, please bear in mind this is not a domain where you complete one degree or do an certification and or training and say I'm done. This is a
Mm.
lifelong learning journey. Even now, after being in the industry for 20 plus years, even now I don't know many things. Even now I learn, and wearing the thinking hat is where I mean learning hat is very important. And active learning and passive learning you should do. Active learning means, okay, you take effort to do one certification, you do one training program. Passive learning is you keep reading any PDF, any white paper, an industry survey report, or blogs. It should be a way of life. You cannot switch on and switch off. If you have to be committed and you want to be in the top of things, you should do. Now, to start with, you can always learn the basics of computer networking, basics of operating systems, right? Programming language, something like Python or C++, if you're, if you love doing programming languages. Understand basics of risk management, right? And learn a deep dive into vulnerabilities, scanning, some tools you can pick up, pen testing. All these things are the basic foundations. Or you don't want to get into networking or interested in cloud, definitely you can start with the AWS cloud or Azure cloud. You have a lot of resources for you to learn. All you need is the interest, passion, time, and focus and resources. Even resources, I will underestimate. I mean, I'll downplay because the
Mm.
amount of resources available online for free to learn itself is good. Unless you are very clear you want to get credentials, then you'll have to pay for it. You don't want certifications, you just want the knowledge and skills. You can use all these resources to your advantage free of cost. And most importantly, have that analytical bent of mind, problem solving skills, and attention to detail. These are all the building blocks. And use if you have an opportunity to specialize in a degree like a in cybersecurity or information security, please do that either as an undergraduate or postgraduate. But strictly, it's not a requirement, right? And more importantly, you will have to, if you want to do deep dive learning, sign up for a training course, preferably in person, because
Yeah.
online, even though it's convenient, it will not give you the vibes or the effect what you do in person, talking to the trainer, clarifying stuff, and learning with your batchmates. That peer learning is very, very helpful. And if you're looking to get some basic certifications, if you're starting, I would strongly recommend CompTIA Security Plus or Network Plus or CH. You can Google for them. When CH in 20 years back, it was a top-notch certification. Today, college students are expected to do so that your profile, your credentialing is good. In your CV, you
Mm.
can list, I've done my CH. So when you go to industry, you will have some credibility. Okay, the candidate has put an effort to upskill and get this certification, right? And as much as possible, participate in this CTF events, capture the flag, hackathons. That will hone your skills, your technical skills. Be on platforms like Try Hack Me, right? And play
Mm.
around and have some personal lab set up at home, or have a group of friends who will play around and be part of these industry forums, the industry events, conferences or events. Be part of the local security chapters, right? OASP is there, B-Sides Bangalore is there, or any city, or Cloud Security Alliance, right? Or Hacker Meet, or Nullcon. All these technical groups would give you that practical exposure. When you hear all the technical experts come and give talks, you can collaborate with them, you can network with them, and definitely networking will help you in landing a job. So these are all the building blocks if you want to break into cybersecurity successfully. Yeah.
Thank you for that, sir. Sir, coming to your point where earlier cybersecurity was information security or network
Data
security, right?
security.
So if
Yeah,
I go back little, so I'm trying to relook at, because at that time security was considered an expense.
correct. Necessary evil. That's what people used to say.
As you rightly said, it was to pick out something. We are compliant. We did some audit. We had set of procedures. Yeah, we had some NCs, but yeah, that's where we comply. And there could be a transfer of the risk. There could be a mitigation done with small tweaking that used to be happening. Now,
Mm.
coming back there to today, how is the executives and the top managers prioritizing security today? And how effectively communicating that to incorporate with the teams and the stakeholders? Because now cybersecurity is become, as we started our conversation, cybersecurity has become a key thing, right? Now,
Yeah,
how are the executives playing a role? Because they have to talk to the board, the teams have to be convinced. There are a lot
yeah,
of stake that goes when it is cybersecurity. Your
correct,
view
correct.
on it.
Sure, sir. So I'll just give you the background how this domain evolved. Initially, in the 70s, it was called computer security. Later, it was called IT security.
IT
Then
security.
data security. Then information security. Today, we are talking cyber security because after the emergence of internet and cloud in a big way, the word cyber has come. But end of the day,
Yeah,
it is information security because that information security term is all encompassing. How I would substantiate that is there is still we have the head of information security as a CISO, Chief
yeah,
Information Security Officer. It's not Chief Cyber Security Officer. Tomorrow,
right,
the same
right.
term, cyber security, may be called digital security. So all terms that keep
Yeah, I
changing with
think
the
that read out somewhere there is saying a digital strategist, digital security
yes,
strategist,
yes,
and evangelist
exactly,
instructor. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, coming to your question, let's understand why it is important to engage with the C-suite executives or the board or the senior management on cybersecurity. Earlier, cyber security or information security was looked at as a IT issue. In fact, it was
Hmm.
bunched with IT, and the IT heads used to run security. And for security, they used to give a percentage. It was looked at as a percentage of IT budget is for
IT
security.
budget.
Today, it is all changed. You cannot talk in terms of percentage. Rather, it is a completely independent function, and you need to have a full-fledged team headed by a CISO or equivalent, right? So, why do we need to engage the senior management? Because it's become a business issue because of
Mhm.
protecting your IP, protecting your confidential business information, then your regulations that have come very stringent now for protecting data. If you don't protect, if you there is any major incident breach, security data breach, you'll end up paying penalties, and reputation risk is there, right? Reputation will go for a toss. There's financial implications also, and cyber resilience. No, if you're not having the resilience, to manage a security incident or a disruptive event, it will impact your company's ongoing concern status. Business continuity is very important because of contractual obligations and as well as your own survival of the organization. So, regulatory compliance and legal obligations also mandate you to have cyber security in a very important way. So, where you get it properly funded and properly resourced, and have that commitment to run the program. And of course, evolving challenges and threats. The cyber threatscape is evolving rapidly. So you need to have a strong strategy for that. So these are the why you need to have a strong engagement with senior leadership on cyber security. Now, the other part is the while you may have a CISO who's the head of the program, who's responsible for the security program, ultimately who's accountable in the eyes of law and stakeholders like your shareholders and regulatory bodies is the board of directors is accountable. So the
Hmm.
board should be more cognizant of to give top priority to cybersecurity, and ask relevant questions. And they should give a opportunity for the CISO to come and brief them and give them a lowdown on what's going on in the cybersecurity program, right? So and essentially the board should be concerned about the risk posture, resilience posture. What is the cost of incidents that might hit them? Are we prepared to manage these incidents, right? And are we compliant with the regulations and the standards, or are we falling foul with them? So all these issues are more important for board level, folks. And just like you have audit committee or compensation committee at the board level as part of corporate governance, boards also now have a risk committee, risk oversight
Hmm.
committee. So the risk committee will definitely have the CISO or technology professionals as part of its members. So obviously, the boards also, the composition of boards also are changing. Traditionally, boards were packed with chartered accountants and lawyers.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of technology professionals come as independent directors, and those people have insights into how cyber risks are managed. So, along with the independent director who is an expert on cybersecurity, or has some mastery in cybersecurity, you'll have the CISO also reporting to the risk committee. So that way it is effectively managed. Now, other important thing for the board is to support the program by showing commitment in terms of approving funding for tooling, resourcing, and visible support, because the board
Hmm.
sets the tone, right, for security governance as well. So from there, the senior management will take you, and they will also support the program and have security in the agenda. Every board meeting should
Hmm.
discuss about security. Even if they speak for 15 minutes, that is really worthy time, and the importance is there. And give a seat to the CISO in the board meetings. Even though the CISO may report to the CEO or COO or CFO, at least a dotted line reporting to the board is very important and very effective in having a direct line of communication, right? And of course, the board has to lead by example. Nothing is more important or powerful than the board members leading by example as far as cyber security is concerned. And also, things like, they should commission the CISO to have a rewards recognition program for exemplary security behavior by employees, right? Some
Hmm.
board
Hmm.
members award or something like that. That will actually bring in that focus on cybersecurity, and also have a policy for policy security violations. If some employee is going rogue, wantedly or whatsoever, should do. So while the walking the talk is very important. Everyone loves to talk cybersecurity as a buzzword, but it's very important they walk the talk and send a very clear message to the workforce that security is critical, and promoting that security first work culture. Today, as per law, you are supposed to qualify any major cybersecurity incident in the for publicly listed companies in their annual report, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's become
Hmm.
that important. So it's very important that the critical that the board actually emphasizes and prioritizes cybersecurity and does all these activities.
A big list of things that you have listed out, how the whole structure for a C-suite to look at. And
Yeah.
I think what you said was predominantly a structure that came in from top down to bottom approach, is what I take.
Yes.
And thank you for that, sir. It is very insightful there. Uh, Now, with the DPDP Act coming in, right,
Hmm.
there is a lot of things that we are talking back again going to data security, right? So, you look at the pointer that we were talking, we said it was first computer security, then network security, then it became data security. We termed that later as information security management, right? So now
Correct.
looking
Correct.
at that, now what are the common points
Mhm.
organization face? Because now it comes to implementation. We have the setup, we have everything. How do they have, or what are the common pain points they have during implementation, and how can they have an edge to overcome them? Is there a structure that we can put in place, or there is something that they have to go through the cycle again and look at it.
Yeah, so primarily the mindset, the orientation of the management towards cybersecurity is
Implementation.
very important. So obviously, the buy-in for security budget, the security program, tooling, and processes is actually a pain point today.
Hmm.
The instilling the rigor and discipline for consistency is important. For example, patching you do in bits
Hmm.
and pieces, fits and starts, that is not going to help, because all we all know as security professionals, one unpatched system can actually create havoc, gives a opportunity for hackers to exploit it, right? And say the increasing volume of complexity of cyber threats, again that is a pain point, because the CISOs or the security teams themselves are not they take time to figure out how to handle these threats, right? And that's a
Hmm.
pain point. Then the agility and speed you need to build for threat prioritization, or for tackling or preparing for new age threats. Say, for example, the Gen AI threats, right? So all these things you need understanding and a quick way to handle them. So that needs to build in a lot of agility, technical capability. Then incident response is always a pain. You may have all the playbooks, but if people keep changing, you need to have trained personnel, right? So you
Yeah.
train all of them, and people ideally they leave in 2 years' time, less than 2 years also. And again, you need to start the cycle. Now, end user compliance is again a problem to the security policies or the best practices. There will always be some end users who will fail to follow them, and that can create havoc. Something like clicking on phishing links, and that could download a malware or worse, ransomware, right? Because of end user actions. And
Hmm.
cyber resilience is again a big pain point, because the amount of investment you need to do to ensure that your businesses continue in the face of a disruptive event. And it's a very challenging thing for companies to have that level of resilience, right? And fostering a very proactive security first culture. That is
Hmm.
again a lot of effort by everyone involved, not just the CISO. Again, security is a team game. It is not one department or the CISO's responsibility alone. As we say, security is everyone's responsibility. So, right from the top management, from the board, the senior management, then the steering committee, HR, finance, legal, uh, business units, all the leadership should actually promote a positive security culture, so there is security consciousness in the work people do. And interference from other stakeholders in security program rollout. This is something I've personally experienced. Except me, everyone will tell me how to run security. I don't go and tell the development manager how you should develop your code, right?
That is the
But
code.
everyone takes the liberty to tell me what you should do. So we have a structured plan, a roadmap on which we travel. And in meetings, everyone will tell you need to track this KPI, you need to do this, and we do not have the resources to do everyone's whims and fancies, and that will not be our priority also. While we give a
Yeah.
patient hearing, right? So these are all the pain points that I have experienced in my career.
Great, sir. Great insight there again. So, as we started talking about the DPDP security side, right, or the
Hmm,
privacy
hmm.
operations side, what we are looking is that security is getting embedded into everything, like security by design, by security by default. These are the
Yeah,
things that we are looking at the moment. Like now, we were talking about security of a code, right? People don't want to look at it, but if you make it by default, they'll have to
yeah,
look at it. And
yeah.
the government is very clear in the operations that are coming up with DPDP, saying that there is a hefty fine which will come onto your head if that is not followed, right? So
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
think would change the landscape on a larger scale. I think
Hopefully,
that's hopefully,
hopefully.
right? Sir, coming to the next point that I wanted to, how do we address the human element here, sir, on cybersecurity? Because employees training we do, then we give, still we we see them not adhering and stuff like that. How do we look at this human element implementation in the organizations?
Yeah, the human element is actually a very underestimated, ignored aspect of the security program. So,
Yeah.
because of technology dependence and we are overly reliant on technology, we think we buy the best of the technology tools and that is going to take care of security. But we ignore or underestimate. It's end of the day, it's humans. The people aspect
Yeah.
has to be there. So one thing is you catch them young and early with a
Mm.
security orientation on the day one as part of your formal induction program where you give a highlights of your security policy, security requirements, the do's and don'ts, the best practices, incident reporting in case something is wrong, how you have to report, and also explain clearly the disciplinary action for if any violations. So day one itself they are aware and
Mm.
importantly follow through with the periodic security touch points and security awareness trainings, annual trainings in e-learning platform, phishing simulation because phishing is a major pain today, and simulations should be done, and the results of the simulation, if people flunk in that, they'll have to undergo mandatory trainings, right? And
Yeah.
security awareness cannot be a one size fits all approach. It has to be customized. So it has to be a role based security awareness. So what you content you do for general users should be different from for developers, different for IT system administrators, and different for the executive management, right? So that way you have to vary the content, and there should be innovative ways to deliver security awareness. It cannot be plain Jane presentations, right? We need to, because today we are dealing with Gen Z. Gen Z
Yeah.
want variety, they want fun, they want it to be interesting, right? So I always advocate this first FIRST, first approach towards security awareness. So FIRST stands for it has to be frequent, it has to be interesting or innovating, it has to be relevant, it has to be simple without too many technical jargons, and it has to be timely, right?
Time.
The situational awareness is very important. If something major malware campaign is going on or a phishing campaign is going on, you have to immediately alert your sysadmins or your security admins what kind of technology, tech measures, technical measures they need to take, and also give a very crisp and easy to follow advisory to the general users. So that way it would be helpful. Importantly, you'll have to reward and recognize exemplary behavior. So that's a very positive way to engage with the staff so that they gets reinforced, and foster a positive security culture, and have a culture of accountability. You do some mistake, people should own up, right? And building a human firewall is very important because they are the first line of defense against social engineering attacks. So this is very important. Also have insider threat management program because you cannot ignore that threat vector also. So have DLP, have mobile data management or mobile
Yeah.
device management tools, whatsoever which will work for the company, and so that the critical data is not exfiltrated or manipulated in any way. So that aspect also is important, right? So my approach is more of a positive engagement with the staff with rewards and sanctions or punishments if when people go wrong, right? People go wrong.
Yeah.
That's very important. Yeah. Excuse
Coming
me.
to the next point, what we had from a personal experience or
Hmm.
learning, how are these challenges tested your skills, right? And also how your knowledge has given you things to overcome. So it becomes, see, at times we've read so much and
Yes.
our skill is limited, but what happens with the knowledge that we have gained through the experiences or the lessons that we have learned will help us. So how do we look at that, sir, from a personal standpoint?
See, one thing, as I said earlier, this domain is very demanding because of the evolving nature. So you have to
Hmm.
keep learning to be a lifelong learner. Even today, I
Yeah.
don't know many things. Wherever I don't know, I don't pretend that as if as I know. I'll always go to the expert, somebody who's knowledgeable on this, who has experience. I go and tap their expertise and seek their inputs and advice, right? So that is one thing. And the cloud, for example, when it emerged in a big way 10, 12 years back, I made an effort to learn what it is, right? So bits and pieces I kept learning. Then in 2021, during the COVID lockdown, I strongly felt, okay, I'm learning here and there, but I don't have a formal structured learning. So I went and signed up for a PG program in cloud computing in Great Learning. It was a 10-month
Okay.
program. Did it.
Okay.
I wanted to learn in a very structured way. Here and there, I learned something on AWS, something on Azure, and that didn't help me get a complete picture. So that
Okay.
proactiveness is important. So even for example, the last 1.5, 2 years, AI has emerged. So I'm
Hmm.
keeping up to pace with learning on my own. Only thing I'm scared whether I should do a master's in AI at this stage in my career and how it will help me. Maybe youngsters
Okay.
would be more open to that. Now at this stage, I'm a little hesitant. Should I invest so much time, so much effort, and money, and on what is the returns for me? Of course, I'm not discounting the power of knowledge,
Yeah.
but definitely there is some hesitation because of my stage in my career. And deep dive learning, you should always do through trainings, right? Either in person as much as
Yeah.
possible or virtual. And when you do certifications, especially when you are young, it will help you to validate your knowledge by a body, and that will add to your credentialing. So don't underestimate the power of credentialing when you apply for roles. Very clearly, they ask for certifications. And also, when you today, when you look in LinkedIn, any job within a few hours of posting, you see over 100 applicants. So every
Yeah.
job has so much of demand. So how do you
Hmm.
think the recruiters would filter out the applications? Only through keyword search. They look for all these keywords: CISSP,
Yeah.
CEH, CISM, CISA, CCSP, whatever. And only those certifications they actually review and put it up for the hiring manager for shortlisting. So it's very important when you are young and you are building your career, you should have the right credentials. So that way, I always advocate, if you want to build a credentialing, every year do two certifications for 4 years in focused way. Don't do every certification comes your way. If you are into networking or if you are into cloud, do only related that, and do everything that you can so that you are in the top of the pile, right? Nobody can mess with you. You are master of everything. One easy
Right.
cert, one difficult, one major cert, so that you balance it well. So every 6 months you do one certification. You can manage your time, your focus, and your money. So over a period of 4 years, you'll have 8 solid certifications in your CV. So
Right.
that is very important. Of course, the skills are super important, right? So there are managers or hiring managers who are very clear that I don't care about certification. If the candidate can do physical, I mean, practically, if he or she can
On the call.
demonstrate skills, that is more important. And attending industry conferences is again important because you get practical insights from practitioners and experts, right? That you will never get it in any book or training
Yes.
material or certifications, right? Industry connect is very important. And of course, reading the blogs or any books, that would also definitely be an added advantage. Yeah. So that's my take on this personal learning journey, right? It has to be a continuous.
Yeah, with this, I think we have come to a last point that I wanted to check with you is looking future.
Yeah.
Looking ahead, what would be the future of cybersecurity? And any opportunities that professionals and organizations should be aware of?
Yeah, so cybersecurity will definitely be rocking as ever. Whatever new technology that comes up, definitely you need security. So that way there
Yeah.
are no doubts about the future of this particular domain. And the only thing is, AI will be leveraged in a big way for attacks as well as for defense. So if
Hmm.
the workforce or people who are working in this domain, if they can leverage the power of AI by upskilling themselves, it will do a world of good. Today, you know pretty well at a personal level, at an individual level, the concept of working till 58 and 60 years is gone. The traditional
Yeah,
or conventional retirement age. The retirement age today is anything around 45, 47, 48 years. After that, they are pushed out because of the dynamics of the industry, especially the IT sector. They don't want
mm,
expensive resources and who don't have hands-on skill. So if you are still continuing in corporate sector beyond that age, thank your stars, or you should be really in a having a hard to find skill, or you are in a management grade, then you still hang around. My point is, do all you can to be in the domain within the first 20 until 45. Anything beyond is a bonus. So of course, today when you look at the future of cybersecurity, the kind of risks that we will face all the more is AI powered attacks, supply chain attacks, social engineering will become more and more sophisticated. Then zero trust will be adopted in a much more
yeah,
larger way, right? And the cloud risks are increasing and the costs are also increasing, which
costs
will
are increasing.
force companies to look at bringing them back to going back to
Yeah,
on-prem, right? We don't know
on.
how this is going to evolve because of the risk and
But I
cost
think,
factors.
yeah, I think your point is very valid in terms of coming back to the edge way of looking at. I think most
Yes,
of the IoT based censored
yeah,
organizations which are functioning are looking at edge data centers to be
edge data
located.
centers. Yeah, that will come back to
Come back is what the trend is
yeah,
showing at the moment. Sir,
yeah,
with this, I would like to summarize the points that we discussed, sir. I have taken
yes,
some notes here. So we
awesome,
spoke about foundations of cybersecurity. Then we went on the landscape of threat to the landscape. Then we said what could be the defending point for crown jewels. We spoke about lessons learned. What can the fresher strategies look at, and the executive insights is one thing we discussed in length, and you've given a great framework to look at how executives can put their thoughts and bring the teams to be aligned for the security implementations. Some of the pain points and challenges we discussed. How we spoke about the human factor in cybersecurity. That was very crucial because without having humans having an infrastructure or a security, this one, it does not make sense is the
correct,
point that we turned around. Some technology trends we spoke about, and we also took about personal learnings that you went through and how you can one can go on learning on this one, and how the future of cybersecurity is being taken, and what could be the roadmap for cybersecurity in the future is what we discussed. I think with this, I think we have a great understanding how things should look at when we start looking to stronghold, how to defend the crown wells with best in class practices. We got a great insights from you, sir. With this, we would like to conclude our session. Thank you for joining us today, sir. For the audience, we are streaming it live through LinkedIn to YouTube and Facebook, and we are on Twitter and Instagram as well. Hope this session has been insightful, and our next session would be on 13th, which is on subconscious signals and how NLP work enhancement work communication is on 13th of August at 6:30 p.m., sir. And thank you for the time over here, sir. Any last minutes that you want to talk about, give your thoughts to the audience?
I'm very much thankful to you for organizing this session and bringing me here to share my thoughts. And I hope the audience found it useful. Overall, you have been doing a very exemplary surveys on different topics on a consistent basis. I'm really happy, and I look forward to engaging with you and the audience again in future. Thank you. Have a
Yes.
great evening.
Thank you,
Bye.
sir. Have a
Yeah.
great day.
Thank you. Bye.